Hey guys, I'm Creative Golem here with Ultimate Writer. We're here to talk about a pretty controversial topic, Destiny 2. Today we're going to talk about the things we thought were good, bad, and not so great. Before we get into the meat of the topic, we want to let everybody know that we're not new to Destiny 1 or 2. We've played Destiny 1 since the beginning. We have literally completed with our clan 100% of the topic. And Ultimate, I mean, how many years has it been now that we've been playing together? Um, it's been pretty much since the beginning of one, right?
Beginning of one, practically. I met you in one. I didn't meet you in the beta. And the
Yeah.
beta was only a couple months before the regular game came out. So it was like the beginning of Destiny One, about the
You got
maybe
you got
into.
literally all of the trophies in one. I didn't do that. I'm not much of a collector of trophies and stuff, but you got literally all the trophies in one and two, right?
Yes, I got all the trophies in one and two. It's the only game I ever gotten platinum of. I usually don't go for trophies in games, but this game seems to be the one I wanted to do it, and I did accomplish it.
Well, the thing is, what we're trying to demonstrate here is we're fans of Destiny. We've played Destiny. We want to see it do well. We're not here to just hate on Destiny, but there are some things when it comes to two that just did great and then just didn't meet our expectations, and that's kind of what we want to talk about. So
Oh,
let's just go ahead and get right into the meat of it, unless you
all
got
right,
something you want to talk about first.
all right. So let's get to the meat from the very beginning of the storyline, from the homecoming to the end of the storyline. I'll
Yeah,
let you go
basically the
first.
regular game content, and that's really where you got to start with anything. First off, when you get to the regular game content, there was a lot of things that were done really well. First off, the graphics. Oh my gosh, the dust particles in the air when you're just running around, that sense of almost extra realism you get. The God Ray that they included, just the lighting graphics, as well as the upgrade to the textures and the skins of the cabals. When you get right up on them, it's just you can't help but notice the detail, especially if you're playing it on Pro at 4K. And those things were done really well, and the story was done really well. I thought the story was done fantastically. The voice acting. What were the things that you liked the most about the regular game content?
Well, the regular game content I felt is that every gun that you use, you found a gun that you liked to use. No matter if it was a
Yeah,
blue or even a white one, even the white one.
yeah,
And what people don't realize that the very first gun you use in the homecoming is Origin Story, and that Origin Story turned out to be one of the better PvP guns, which kind of is shocking that the first gun they put out is the gun that's good in PvP. It's also good in PvE, by the way, also. So
yeah.
that is kind of surprising.
Yeah, that surprised me too. For the good and the bad, like I use Origin Story all the time in sequence with Actium War Rig, which beefs it up even more. And I like that the exotics actually work with certain weapons better, so there's actual combinations of things that kind of help you just become even more strong. Now, that came with some downturns too, so it wasn't just this gun is great, that gun is okay, and blah blah blah. It was this gun is great, but that means something else on the other side of the screen. But before that, let's address the story because there's some bad that has to do with the story too.
All right.
A really bad thing.
Now,
And I think you'll agree when I say this, the story was short. As great as it was very short.
well, I've I could agree and disagree, but
All right.
that I could agree and disagree. But on a disagreement about that, I think they did well in the story, but agreed that they could have told a story about where where Zavala, Akora, and Cade went. Not like oh, we go to one planet and the first character tells us where the other characters went, and that's how we found out and all.
Yeah,
There was no
yeah,
story.
I
There was no
agree.
storyline pushing us up to Titan or Io or Nexus. It was just doing one story to Titan, Zavala, saying, "Okay, we heard that Okura likes to go to Io." So, but it's like, okay, that's fine, but it could have been better of told. Could have been better of told, like um, like memories. Go back to the tower of where a core room was, even if the tower was on fire or bits and parts, and reading her memories of parts of where she
Yeah,
went. Could
if
have
I
been
can
done better.
interject, even if it was just when you got there, she explained what happened between Earth and then, like how she actually physically got there or why, or some explanation, some story tie-in. There was nothing. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, she's here, and then you go there. It's like, yep, I'm here now. Let's go do this because this is important. Um, and I think the worst part about that, and I'm going to include this here because it really kind of ties into that, is the grinding you're left with. You complete the story up to that point, and oh yeah, by the way, before you can go to the next planet, you now have to grind 3 levels, which was annoying. There was no real quote unquote side quest. It was just, I know why they did it. They wanted you to explore the planet, but you did not need 3 levels to do it. Like maybe one. There's like maybe 1 level worth of exploration. The rest of it
And
you're going to get when you start doing the other stuff on the planet, like the patrols and the just everything else that you can do on the planet. Like the quests, the patrols, the new adventures, the
public events.
yeah, the public events. Even if you want to try to search for all the lost sectors, which we'll talk about later, there's stuff you're going to do when you come back anyway. So you don't need 3 levels, and it just got to be very frustrating and annoying. Uh, but what were you going to say about that?
Well, like I said, like you said, grinding. There
Yeah,
at a low level, you couldn't grind public events because of how hard they were. One shot, you're dead. How can you level up by yourself if you don't ask a friend that's higher than you, at least level 20, to come help you grind that level?
yeah.
And if you're not with friends, you can't do levels but shoot enemies on the side without doing public events, and that takes a long time to shoot enemies and get XP. You know, so if you're making it
Yeah.
for a single player, it's hard for a single player to do this game unless you got friends.
Well, I'm going to have to take a stand on it was short, but let me tell you why. And the average game uh, of this kind or any other kind, you get about 40 hours plus content. And that's been an industry standard for years. I mean, you can go all the way back to PlayStation 1 days, like one of the greatest games ever. I'm not comparing the two, they're apples and oranges, but because it's not even first person shooter, but like Final Fantasy. Even if you rush through it, you had more than 20 hours of gameplay and stuff. When you included all the side quests and everything, there was still over 40 hours of content. This is back on PlayStation 1. Flash forward, take any other game like Halo or Halo 2 or just pick your favorite first-person shooter or RPG. You have somewhere in between 20 to 25 on the low end of content to usually 40 plus hours. You look at some of the more recent games like GTA 5, and man, the story itself. took on average more than 40 hours. And then if you were just doing everything that's in there to do, you probably had like 50 plus, 60 plus hours worth of content. Once you include the online, which is just like another game to itself, there's hundreds and hundreds of hours worth of stuff to do. And for the same price, you get, well, let's look at some more hard numbers. Ultimate, you played through and recorded the entire thing, and you included the grinding, and there was a little bit of lollygagging. Do you recall, I know you have it written down somewhere, the total time it took you to play through the game to the point you were level 20?
Yes, 8 hours, 27 minutes, and some seconds.
All right. So we also have a friend, we'll just call him Rob. No one will know who he is because he didn't really give us permission to talk about him. But he said that he played through. He had a friend helping him, granted. But he played through. He cut through all the scenes, like all the little cut scenes, which were well done. Again, it only took him right around 4 hours to play through to 20.
Yes,
Now, this is very wisely using his time, but go ahead.
Well, yes, if you run through all the stuff that you don't need to kill, you could cut down a lot of hours in the 8 hours by not watching the cinematics. So yes, the short storyline is short for 4 hours.
So, like, when you look at the actual, it's actually less because he did some grinding in there. It's under 4 hours of actual content in the game versus the standard market 40. That's 1/10 of the standard market game. Just it's been a market norm for years and years and years. You know, somewhere between 25. Even if you went for the low end, you're still almost less than 1/6 of the industry norm. So, I mean, no matter how you look at it, the game was short as crap. We got shorted. But let's look at the in-game content before we make the final judgment on how short was it. But I got to talk about the clans first before we move on to that.
No. We can talk the clans after because the end game.
Yeah,
of the
that's true.
Of the storyline.
We'll go right into the end game.
Right, the end game goes right. You can't join a clan until when you first begin, until you reach level 20.
It really doesn't come into complete play until end game, so we'll talk about it when we talk about the end game. So end game, you made it to 20. You did a little bit of grinding. Some of it was annoying. Some of it was fun. And now you play through some extra stuff and you finally unlock Nightfalls. Nightfalls are challenging content, sometimes more challenging than others. Some of them are almost impossible, depending on what the bonuses and deficiencies are that week. But you do get higher rewards, and they're worth doing. They're not something that's a waste of time. What was your feelings on the Nightfalls?
Well, my feelings on the Nightfalls is that the enemies don't miss you, and they're bullet sponges, and you keep shooting them, and they don't die as fast as you do. Why is that possible? Why do we die faster than the enemies if we're shooting them and dodging their bullets and shooting them, and they take so long to die?
Yeah, that did seem a little bit unfair at times because, the way the recoil on your guns work, there's going to be a slight occasion where you're going to miss a couple of rounds. They'll have more powerful weapons that will never ever miss. It's like you can't just charge into a room and try to use your super because a lot of times if there's too many of them, you'll charge in a room and everybody will be shooting you in the head and you'll die, like within a second. And that's kind of unfair. Back to the Nightfall. At the end of the day, the Nightfalls are not a waste of time. They're good, and you get good rewards for them. They're worth doing every week. And they make it so you can even, if you don't have a clan, you can go and do a guided run and have 2 other people help you through it. Even if you're not that high a light level, like let's say you get, we just did one not that long ago with a 269, and he did fine with our help. There was also a big raid. The raid was fantastic. I like how it tied into the story. It wasn't like extra. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, go here and do this. Completely separate from the story. It was also well animated. There was a decent amount of challenge to it. But one thing, let's start talking about the bad here. The bad thing about the raid, in my opinion, the worst thing was the guns. None of the guns in the raid were must-haves, like in previous raids from the previous game. Like in, you had like the Hunger of Crota or the Vision of Confluence. You had those really nice weapons that A, would help you in that particular raid, and B, even outside of the raid, they were fantastic to have. They were almost on or even on par with exotics. And it's like that in just about every other game. If there's a raid, you go, like whether it's an MMORPG or just a regular first-person shooter. If there's some super hard area you go into, the rewards you get out of that are some among the best in the game. They're not necessarily the best, but they're among the best. And we didn't see that here. As a matter of fact, some of the, like you said with Origin Story earlier, some of the best weapons in the game you just get from Zavala at random, or from some of the planets, or the gunsmith. So it began to be like, what's the point? And everything with that, including the armor. Like you're wearing some of the armor, are you not, from the
Yes.
raid?
Yes, I do.
Do you like the raid armor overall, like all the pieces?
I like how they look. They're nice.
Yeah.
They're good. They're nice looking. I just like them.
See, I thought all of it was ugly. I didn't like any of it. And that's kind of what I've seen every time I've asked somebody. It's like they're either like, yeah, I love it, it's great, or man, it is awful.
Well,
Good.
everyone has different tastes. I'm not trying to change your mind of if you like it or you don't like it. There's other armor I do like the Rose of Optimacy. I do like that. I have a whole set of robes of
Yeah.
Optimacy. I have, yeah. Matter of fact,
I,
I use the boots all the time, and yeah, I just changed. I have Rose
I
of
like the Iron
Optimacy on.
Banner gear that came in. I thought it
I
was really good.
I don't like the Titans. It just does not look.
Yeah.
This looks too bulky.
Which was my favorite set. So obviously differing taste there. But now let's talk about the clans briefly, because
Well,
this does kind of tie in.
I want to disagree with you on the ray guns, and agree.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
I do agree that the ray guns are not good for the raid because of one
Yeah.
reason. It doesn't have a special perk on it like all the other raid guns have. If,
Yeah.
like in Crota, it was the Hive. It had a special perk of shooting hives gives you extra damage. These guns don't have any perks of that like that. Shooting cabals give you extra damage. Don't have its separate perks of the gun. It don't give that way. But there are some
Yeah.
guns that are good to use in PvE, like the auto rifle. I do like. You don't like it, that's fine. I do like the auto rifle in PvE. I do like the pulse rifle. Pulse rifle is pretty good. It's pretty good pulse rifle. I also like the rocket launcher, and I also like the scout rifle. All right, in PvE. All right. So
Well, they made it so all the weapons could be used, and none of them are completely garbage. And I think that was balanced quite well this time around. You can whatever your favorite type of weapon is, it has a use, it has a preferred range, it has a preferred situation. It's just some of those situations are so dangerous it becomes hard to use them unless you're using them in sequence with other weapons. That being said, there 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 were always better weapons elsewhere than the raid, though. Like there was one weapon that had extra Cabal damage, that being the Skyburner's Oath. But when we actually tried using it in the raid, it wasn't doing enough damage to be worth using versus other weapons. It wasn't doing really that much extra damage to Cabals that you even noticed it. It just became a giant waste of time. There was no situation where that really helped out over, let's say, Origin Story or Uriel's Gift or even a Skaithlock. It's just, and if you don't know the weapons we're talking about, then check those weapons out. Those are all three of those auto rifles I named are worth having. The first two are some among the best PvP auto rifles.
All right.
But moving on to clans, in my opinion, your clan list is almost pointless. Your clan is almost pointless in this game. They made it so if you have a decent friend list, you can pretty much do whatever you want, and the extra engrams you're going to get are not really going to help you out that much if you grind a lot anyway. Well, I mean, do you agree or disagree with that?
Well, I agree and disagree. The reason
Yeah.
why I say I agree and disagree because there are some good perks on the clan when you're playing with clan members. There are good reasons why, and I'll read them. Gain additional
Yeah.
glimmer when looting engrams. All right, that's awesome. You get more glimmer because in this game everything has to do with glimmer. Sometimes, most of the time, with glimmer.
Not everything.
Well, if you want to get mods on a gunsmith, it costs you glimmer. If you want to buy certain things as cosmetics, it'll cost you glimmer. If you want to infuse things, I would think it costs you glimmer to infuse things up now, wouldn't it? Yes, 500 glimmer to infuse.
Yeah.
So,
And those little things I probably take for granted because we've always had them because I was in the clan since the beginning of this one, and
right.
I probably didn't notice. And I did do. Sorry, I do remember at the beginning of the game struggling with glimmer, and then after a couple of weeks in, when we started getting that stuff, I just kind of stayed at 100,000. Um,
Right.
which
So it does benefit to be in the clan and all that. And also, let's go with the next part. Increased public event rewards.
yeah,
That's great because you do get a lot of engrams and a chance for an exotics and
yeah.
glimmer, because you have the extra glimmer from public event rewards. It does help you out. Being by yourself doesn't help you out at all.
Well, you do have those benefits, but I guess what I'm kind of getting at is there's no punishment for not being in a clan. There's no, you don't, if you just work a little bit extra harder, you can get more glimmer, you can get more engrams,
Yes.
and you're not going to really feel it. It's sort of like the guided tours on the raids and the nightfalls. You
All
can
right.
not be in a
But
clan,
so
and then just go in for a guided tour and complete it. Usually
so
no problem.
So let me ask you this question: can you get raid gear or weapons
Yeah.
from not being in the clan? And you can't find
But
friends,
the raid gear
but you
wasn't the
can't.
best in the game, so
Well,
you're not really
I'm
getting
not.
something that fantastic
I'm not
anyway.
talking about peaches and oranges. I'm talking about
Yeah.
something. If it was good or bad, whatever. The question is, can you require raid weapons or raid armor without being in the clan, without doing the raid at all? Let's say you don't like doing raids, you like doing PvP.
No.
All right, can you get any of them as a single person without being in a clan?
Well, you know the answer is no.
Right. Being in a clan, you get engrams by your clan completing the raid, which was helpful for everybody in the clan. So being in a clan has benefits. You know, if you
Yeah.
like throwing PvP, and I say, well, my clan will get me the raid gear, but every time they
Well,
do it, I'll get
well,
an engram.
I'll agree with you to a point. We do need to move on. We're getting a little long. Let's talk about prestige mode. Pointless or worth it?
Um, okay, I'm gonna say it's worth not doing it. All right, that's what I'm gonna say. It's worth
Yeah.
not doing it because there's no incentive of doing prestige mode. The gear is the same. It's just the different shader. You can just do the dogs. The first mission, first prestige dogs, open the door and get the shader all the time.
Yeah.
You do the first door, get a shader, get the shader. That's all you need is the shader to change your other gear into the prestige mode gear. The only difference is the helmet. The helmet glows. You can't get the helmet. That's the only thing that you're not gonna get is your helmet glowing. All right.
That's it seemed pointless to me. It seemed rewardless. It seemed like extra hard for no extra anything. It just all around, uh, just do the regular raid, and
Well,
that's sad because doing hard mode on one was kind of like that was the way to get that better gear, and that's been taken away from us.
yes.
And sad face. All right,
And
let's
and it
look.
seems
All
to
right, good.
us, it seems to me that the whole Destiny 2 experience is that we play for emblems. That's what it seems to me.
Yeah.
Bungie's answer to everything is here's an emblem. You'll be happy. Here's an emblem. We don't play for emblems. You bunch of well, anyway,
Well, that
yeah.
goes right into the complaints. If you look at the production value of the game and what they spent, which I don't know if this is completely accurate, but the numbers I saw is on the production of Destiny 2 they spent over 500 million, whereas there were some other games that of similar quality that spent like half of that, and we'll use GTA for example. Uh, GTA, yes, they're apples and oranges, but they spent I think over 300 million. Destiny 2 spent over 500 million. And if I'm wrong about those numbers, I got them from what I thought was reliable sources. So it's not just me that's wrong, it's them as well. Um, and what you get with for 300 million out of GTA is like night and day from the 1/10 of a game that we're getting with Destiny 2. Where did all that money go to? I have an opinion on that. What I think has happened is they use that production money on not just the base game, but also a good bit of the maybe first and second expansion, and they wanted to charge you the $100 for the season pass in the game for really what they spent on the base game for the original production value, uh, which I think is us getting robbed. What's your take on that?
Um, well, first of all, GTA when you buy stuff, it's they do everything up high with cars and all that. So they're giving you free DLCs. They're giving you all this good stuff, but all their stuff is microtransactions in GTA 5 to make up their money. So if you don't want to do story mode, you don't want to do some missions, do some heists, and do all these side quests and jobs to make money. The easy way is to buy a shark card for GTA 5. And Bungie, they're like, okay, let's do a microtransaction on cosmetics. Like, really? Yeah, I bought some cosmetics because I wanted to. All right, it's my choice, but it doesn't give you the option. If the Bungie would have went the same route as GTA 5 and done microtransaction, make all the DLC free. If you want this, what you want this weapon, you want this gun or whatever, let them buy a package. You know, let them buy some engrams. Make them let them buy some
Well, there's a
exotic
point where that
engrams.
becomes pay to win, so there's a very fine line there.
Well,
Um, and,
actually, pay to win. I'm going to disagree with that. Pay to win, fine line, because an engram is still random, but you're not going to get a double. If you get 2 or
But
3
if you're getting
engrams.
extra engrams, that's still an advantage.
But
If
there's
you can just pay for engrams, that's pay to win, no matter how you look at it.
but yeah, but that's your choice.
Yeah.
Okay? That's
Well,
your
we
choice.
respectfully disagree there. Moving on, lost sectors.
Lost sectors.
Man,
I'll go
I'll let you
first.
take this one.
I'll go first. All right. Lost sectors. You're going into the cave. You shoot enemies, and sometimes the boss is right up front with the enemies. So it's not like, oh my God, surprise! I found the boss so fast. It's not like a where the hell is the boss? You don't go deep into the lost sectors to find the boss. And when you get to the loot case, what you get a. Let me tell you something about lost sectors. Lost sectors are good if you're below 290. If you're above
Yeah.
290, it's not worth it. All you'll get is a piece of gear, a rare gear, and a token. So it's not really worth it if you're above 290. I recommend you
See, when
doing just public events, open a chest, or the captain that runs around outside. That's what I
when lost
recommend.
sectors were initially explained to me, I was excited because in the back of my mind, I was thinking like in Skyrim, where near the end of the game, where you go to that underground cavern, and the sense of wonder you feel when you get there. It's like, look at all that glowy crap on the ceiling, and oh, this place goes on forever. And you think in your mind, what's going on in here? And that's what I thought it was going to be like. Instead, most of the time, it's just a cave. It's not that big. You follow a waterfall next to a waterfall next to a waterfall, or just you follow the cave, and it turns out like just pretty much right around the corner there's the boss. There was nothing to it, and ultimately after you get to a certain point, you're exactly right, it's just a waste of time. Like doing all that and all I got was a token. Come on.
Yeah, it does have a
uh,
chance to drop legendary engrams, but I've never
yeah.
seen an exotic engram drop from any of the lost sectors I have done. I have
Yeah.
not seen it. And plus, let's get to the point of saying of what should be in lost sectors. I think what should be in lost sectors is they need to bring back, okay, they need to bring back certain armor, weapon types that you can only get in certain type of missions, like lost
Yeah.
sectors. You can only get this armor in lost sectors. You can only get this gun in this lost sector. Just like they
Even
did
if it
in
was just
Stripes.
like an exotic required you to do certain lost sectors, and there were like mission parts for it to put it together, something like that.
Yeah,
Otherwise, it's just
it's useless.
what's the point?
It's
Yeah.
useless.
Which
There's
which
no
leads
use.
which leads into, well, kind of loosely, our next topic, the RNG. The drop rate and the randomness of the drop is still just awful. There was something they promised they would fix from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2, and I feel they have failed horribly. Is it better? Yes. Is it fixed? By no means.
Mm.
You can still spend months trying to farm, like, and I have spent months trying to farm a particular weapon, only to get the same weapons you already have over and over and over again, and it's very frustrating. Yeah, I was literally waiting for Xur to sell them, and that's how I got them. I
Uh,
mean, what do you feel? Would you add anything to that? Because I know you're really mad about the number generator.
Number generator. Well, it's frustrating when you get 7 wings in a row out of
Yeah.
exotic engrams. All right, and regardless that I did grind and I
Wait,
grind
you
for
got
everything.
7 consistent back to back every time you got
Yeah, one.
exotic, you got Vigilant
Yeah,
Wing 7 times?
7 times. I've gotten I've gotten the I got I got in the sweet business 5 times in a row.
Yeah, I remember that.
I got
That was
I
kind
got
of funny after a while.
sweet. Yeah, well, another fucking sweet business every time. Sweet business, sweet business, sweet business. All right.
Yeah.
They said come December 5th, they said they are going to fix that. Well, I shall see. I shall see if they
Yeah.
fix it on December 25th. which I
I wouldn't
think
be
they should.
surprised if it's slightly better, but the software for diminishing returns is not new. WoW's been doing it for over a year now. Well, not quite a year, but like no, it might be. I'd have to look at it. WoW's been doing it since this latest expansion. We'll say that. And if you don't get something, it'll slowly make it to where eventually you will get that. And I don't know why they can't add that in. So it's like if at least the point where after you get something, it decreases the chance of you getting it again until you go through the rest of the list. That would make it almost impossible for you to get, like, I don't know, let's say 7 Vigilant Wings back to back. So let's look at the next two things on our list.
But I would also like to say about the
Go ahead.
RNG. All right, leveling up. All your levels, all your other armor is about 300, and there's one piece of armor that stays at 294, 296, and every piece of armor that drops for that slot is only going to be a 296. It was hard for me to get a 300 until reset day. Use one of the Powerball engrams to drop that piece of armor at 300. They need to fix that.
We had people that made it to 290 something, and they're still sporting like a 200 and some change, like a 210 or 215 pants, because they just never got something to drop, or they just didn't pick the right one. But like they're figuring a pants would drop for them, and it just never did. They're almost 300 finally, and a pants finally drops for them. That's just terrible. That needs to be looked at.
Yes, they need to fix that. They need to fix that.
The only thing more infuriating than that for me was, as it relates to PvP, the hybrid servers. And this is where I'm going to have to really throw the gauntlet down and just say Bungie was in the wrong. The way that the hybrid servers work is basically your PlayStation or Xbox or whatever you're playing on PC is communicating with the Destiny server, and that other person in the PvP matches, Xbox, PlayStation, whatever, and the PlayStations are the ones that decide where you are on the map. So if there's a little bit of lag, or they just have cheap internet, or they are cheating and downloading a game in the background, the lag spike, which is very easy to do, which is another problem, but we won't get into that. Their PlayStation is saying they're here, but on your map it's showing they're here, where you're shooting them in the head over and over again, and it's not actually hitting them because, according to their PlayStation, they're somewhere else. This is complete BS. This is just Bungie cheaping out on the servers, and that's not just a problem. That's like make you want to quit playing the game's PvP a problem. When you cannot have a fair match, and even though it's very clear you're playing superior and your team's playing superior, but you can't kill people. It's usually like 1 or 2 people in the team that are just almost unkillable because of that. That's simply just not a fair game, not well done. And all it would be is they opt to have dedicated servers to where they no longer benefit from having lag, and they're more likely to get kicked out of the match because their lag is too high. It's not sending a proper ping. Okay, send somebody out and try to get somebody else into the match. That's all it takes. Now, the millions of dollars they've made, they can't spend the thousands of dollars it would take a year to keep a dedicated server. That's just nonsense. That's completely cheaping out. And they're trying to sell us, no, this hybrid server is great because of this, that, and the other. It's backhanded salesmanship. It's complete BS. It's lies. It's nonsense. There's nothing great about the hybrid server other than anyone?
Money.
It's cheap. Yeah, it's cheap. That's the only advantage. They don't have to pay for a server because they're too cheap to. Sorry, Bungie, you're wrong for that. I'm not even sorry. You're wrong for that. That's almost evil. That shows you really don't care about anything but money, at least on that topic. Now, moving on, let's talk about the things that and this won't even take very long. So I know that this has run a little bit long, but let's just talk about this briefly. As you mentioned earlier, Ultimate, the microtransactions, I feel that it's perhaps even a better business model to have updates / mini expansions throughout the course of the game. I feel that would fix a lot of this. And it doesn't have to be like an entire raid or an entire storyline. I'm talking about like if you would just maybe add a strike here, or even if it's not a strike, just a little storyline material. Like I'd compare it to another MMORPG that I've played, Guild Wars 2, where they would just add in story content. It wasn't major. It was just something to do every couple of weeks. And it was used versus the existing maps. They didn't have to change anything. They just added in some, a quest. I feel the little adventures do that to some degree, but I really wish to at least see more of those in the future. Even if they just add in like one mission or two actual missions, that would be something. Because the game was so short anyway, it's lacking in content. Why is it so expensive or ridiculous to suggest, even though many other games have done it in the past and are still doing it, to add a little bit of minor content? Even if this was just holidays, like the holiday content they had in D1, where did that go? And they will probably have a split opinion on this, but one thing I would add is do something with the space content. There is none. Why is my ship nothing more than a loading screen? I don't understand that. It's cool that there's a neat loading screen, but I don't know. I would like to see some kind of space content, even if it's just on a PvP level that was optional. Ultimate, I know that's not your favorite, but go ahead. Your opinion's worth being heard because it represents some of the crowd as well.
Anyway, okay. All right. Now, you're saying about ships. Well, PvP, yeah. I don't mind if it's for PvP only, but I don't see a way they can have space combat in a regular story, PvE, because then you're just going out of your elements from what the Destiny.
I don't know. Halo 2 and Halo 1 did it quite well, where it was just like, oh, here's a ship. It wasn't even like a spaceship. It was just like an in-game vehicle that flies, and there would be missions from going from like ship to ship on them. Even something like that to include more vehicles would be even just more. Even if it wasn't flying, even if it was just more tank boards. Like you got the tank, you used it for one board. It was this amazing tank, and you utilized it for one board. Why? Why did you even make the tank? Why do you give us this awesome thing and then not use it? It's almost like it was a waste of money to even put it in the game. It's like you could have spent that money better somewhere else if you're going to use it for one board.
Well, they used it for more than one board. They used it for two, actually. Tank.
Well, no, that second board was the Cabal tank.
Yeah, the second board was on the ship.
Yeah, but that was the Cabal tank. That was not the. There was like the Earth tank, and then there was the Cabal tank.
It was a
but
tank.
Still,
it was a tank.
There could. Either way, there could have been more of them, no matter how you look at it.
All right.
So, All right. So yeah, we've run quite a bit longer than we meant to, but closing out, one last thing I'd like to discuss is um, the 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 PvP, the way it's set up, um, and it's a problem because you'll have a team that's random, uh, and you come in and shortly in, somebody's not playing right, or maybe two people aren't playing right, and one or two people leave. There's no real punishment for this. There's no, if there is, I don't ever leave, so I'm unaware of it. But I know that it's not enough to keep people from just leaving, and it's not like in other games where it would mark you as a coward and you couldn't play PvP for 30 minutes. It's not like there's any kind of win-loss rating. It's just your efficiency, which is like all of your assists plus your kills combined together. I don't disagree with that rating because I hated kill stealing in previous games. I agree with that. If you're shooting somebody, you should get credit for helping kill them versus how many times you die. But I respectfully disagree on all levels with people being able to not be punished for just cheaping out and leaving.
Hmm. Well, all right. So, hmm. So how could Bungie fix what they are? You gave your opinion on it. Now I'm going to give my
Yeah,
opinion on what they
please
can
do.
fix. Well, first of all, like you said, there should be more DLC for free in between the paid DLCs. They have to keep the people active. Gotta bring back more events, and they have gotta stop worrying about. They worry too much about the PC launch. That's what hurt Bungie right there, and they worry too much about the launch of the PC. You know, my way of thinking was they should have had this in Destiny 1 as an expansion. They should have made Destiny 2 a whole new game of Destiny from the beginning before the Traveler. I think everybody would have been fine if you told the story from the beginning before the Traveler the proper way. Everybody would have been fine with that. Everybody would have been fine if you bring back the Vault of Glass from that way that leads up to the Vault of Glass. Why do you get the Vault of Glass? Where did Atheon came from? Where the Crota came from? Where the Oryx came from? Where's all that come from? Where's all the lore? Where's Osiris? We have an expansion. If if Bungie would have done this game from the before the Traveler came, from the very beginning, and done the lore in the game from the beginning, and all the characters from the beginning, it would have been a much better game with a better story, and it would have been longer, and it would have been complete. But that's not going to happen. But we're here is what we at, and I think the only way they could fix it is to provide more content, more story, more missions, and more strikes between DLCs. Other than that, you're gonna get the same thing as Destiny 1. DLC comes out, you're over with, all the holidays are over, and now you're bored. Just like a
Yeah,
lot of people left. So
yeah.
that's my opinion on that.
And in closing, we're saying even if what we want is slightly different, we're kind of saying the same thing. You don't have to go out of your way to be spectacular with the filler content. You, as long as there's at least content that's reasonably well done to be put in between. Now, even if it's just every couple of weeks or once a month, here's some minor filler content. So it shows that you're trying to give us our money's worth. But what we're really not seeing is even the attempt at that. It was just we're worried about us and our game and our money. We got your money, so we don't really care about you. And that's the kind of what the vibe that's being put off here. And I think we've kind of shared a lot of evidence as to why that is. This is most likely going to end up being 2 or 3 videos um, when we break it down. So please, I hope that if the developers watch this, I hope they do watch this, they'll take this in stride and think about the things that we've mentioned, and maybe even, I don't know, make some changes for the better, because see Destiny succeed. We want to see them turn this around and do well like you did in the first game. Unfortunately, where I'm at right now is I feel that I've been so neglected and that my money has not, I have not got my money's worth, and that you guys care about us so little. I'm looking for other games to play and a reason not to buy the next expansion. I'm looking for those games, and I'm going to very heartlessly, if y'all don't actually start trying a little harder, play something else and stop playing Destiny altogether. That's how mad I am about some of these things, especially the PvP servers and the RNG. I still have bad, almost nightmares about trying to get the Hawk Moon for a year and it wouldn't drop. And the one weekend I didn't play, Xur sold it. And then when I finally got it, it was nerfed into the ground. I mean, but closing statements, anything, Ultimate?
Yeah, and also, by the way, when he did not check Xur one weekend, he didn't get the coil either. So you're gonna have nightmares about that too, Bungie. So
I still don't have it. I still
right.
don't have it. It's the only exotic I don't have.
You still don't have it, Bungie. So you're gonna give Uncreated Goldman some more nightmares. I'm sorry, I just had to throw that in.
But for those of you who've watched this far, thank you for your time. Thank you for watching us. If you agree with our points, please share your opinions in the links below. The description below, the comments. The comments. Why not the comments? If you didn't agree with us, share it in the comments. Let us know. And if you have any other suggestions you think would be really like something that would bring this game back to life, please share those as well. We may even edit the video at a later time and then include those and give you credit. So thanks again, and keep playing, guys. And Bungie, keep programming.
All right. Let me save it.